Well, you know, the summer festival or the Sawdust Festival is just ending here as the summer ends as well, and it's going to run until August 29th. And real close to us, down El Toro Road in Laguna Canyon. Go on down to the Sawdust Festival and enjoy yourself a nice day. And with us today is one of the artists who, this is actually your first year there. It's Michael Brindley.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us today.
How you doing? Thank you very much.
First year at the Sawdust. What kind of experience has that been?
Oh, I've just had a blast there. There's a positive energy there. There's a lot of activity going on. There's always live music going on in 3 different places. A place for kids to come and do pottery, including adults, and you know, an opportunity to. I teach airbrush classes there from 7 to 9 on Thursdays for $5 for kids 18 plus, or I'm sorry, 10 plus on there, and I've just been having a blast there.
Oh, that's great. You've actually taught and shown at the Art Association here in our community as well.
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah, so
it's kind of neat how, you know, as people retire, they find out they have this hidden talent of whether it's ceramics or lapidary or whatever, and airbrushing.
Airbrushing, absolutely.
Isn't that quite amazing? Because now you really find a talent that you have for yourself, and now you have the time to do it.
Yes, you do. Yeah, absolutely. Airbrushing is a really tricky medium to work with, but once you get it to a system to where you can, you know, easily use it, you need a compressor and an airbrush and a hose is really all you need.
Wow.
And you can do some amazing things with it.
In a nice hand, right?
Yes.
This is a work that you had done. This is a lonesome turtle that you were telling me about a little bit earlier, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give us a little story about this
Lonesome
piece.
George, I heard a PBS special on a Galapagos Island tortoise that is the last of his kind. His name was Lonesome George. You can Google him and look him up and get a lot more information about him. And he was out-competed by feral goats on the Galapagos Islands. And he was the last of his kind. He was too old to reproduce. And so through the miracle of science and technology, we were able to clone George and bring him back. So he inspired me so much that I wanted to do kind of a eulogy for Lonesome George.
Yeah,
He captures the hearts of many. Yeah.
What was there any difficulties in putting this together? You know, the shell, the lines. Is that pretty tough with an airbrush?
It was really difficult. I worked big. I worked on a 30 by 40 inch original piece and was able to blow it up and use some reference. A Galapagos Island tortoise is a land tortoise with a really long neck. You probably will see it if you look him up. So I decided to paint, since I'm an oceanic artist, I wanted to paint something underwater, and a sea turtle seemed to be a perfect way for me to be able to talk about Lonesome George and still be able to do the colorful gradients that you get with a underwater sea turtle.
When you start to develop a subject like this, are you thinking about size as well, or has size already been the first criteria?
Size, typically, you know, I'll build a lot of my paintings in landscape because it's easier to reproduce and easier for people to put on the walls. But if the piece lends itself towards a portrait, you know, being straight up and down rather than sideways, then I will, you know, determine how I want to go about that.
Now, how does someone like yourself get into airbrushing? Because there's so many different mediums out there. You chose airbrushing. How did that happen?
I actually went to Orange Coast College and took a class on how to make something, and I was supposed to write, you know, how to make something. And I looked around in the library and I found something on how to fiberglass a surfboard, and of course I was into surfing. So I said, oh, this is cool. I'm going to not only learn how to make one, but I'm going to actually do it with my friend next door. So he came over and we were just about ready to put the fiberglass on top of the shaped board, and he gave me an airbrush that says, go ahead and put the stripes on there real quick. And so ever since, I've just loved the airbrush. It gives you the opportunity to be able to sketch and shade at the same time, so you can go really, really fast. And everyone's seen an airbrush artist at the carnivals or other kind of things, just, you know, we're going really, really fast. The trick is to have, you know, slow it down, make it a fine art piece, and you know, really develop it and get the style where you need it.
That's nice. Have you ever done cars or motorcycles?
Yes, cars, motorcycles, guitars, you know, anything that they paint. I've pretty much painted it.
Anything that acrylic will stick to.
Yeah.
Here's another wonderful piece that you've put together. Here we go. Sorry about that.
Very nice. That's called Sunset Perfection. That reminds me of days when you're out kind of on your own surfing, doing some soul surfing, and you just find that perfect day where you're coming down off the day, what they call a very special time in the evening called evening glass off, which you'll notice, you know, some of the reflections here, and the calm, the weather gets really nice and calm, and you get perfect waves. So I call that sunset perfection.
And that sunburst too, and that sunset is beautiful too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, very nice. Now, when people commission you, what kind of things are they looking for from you?
You know, I do such a wide variety of art. I don't try to pigeonhole myself into, I'm obviously an oceanic artist because I love the ocean and I'm an ocean man, but I'll do space scenes. I do all sorts of wild and unique things. I follow a lot of different artists and artist styles, and so I try to incorporate that into everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, does an artist like Weiland help promote other artists like yourselves?
Oh,
when
absolutely.
we're talking about things
Weiland
like this?
was absolutely my influence, and Christian Reese Lassen, and you know all the top dogs doing that kind of stuff. And I just love their work. And as a child, when you're growing up and you're seeing that, you're like, wow, I love what he's doing there.
Yeah.
And so as any artist, you're going to put your own hand into it, and it's going to become your own.
Right.
over
You
time.
actually have a piece as well south of San Clemente and right by the Rip Curl Factory. And
Yes.
this is like
Yeah.
a large, kind of like what Weiland's done.
Oh, yeah,
you
it's
know,
huge.
it's a large building.
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
I have. It took me, I only had 3 days because I work full time. And so I said, I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, took a Friday off and went up there and got on the scissor lifts and went up 40 feet by 60 feet. And you know, that's when I really started appreciating these people who do the large scale murals. It's a lot of work, and when you lean over and you look down, you know, you can't make a mistake.
Right.
Yeah, you get that little
and
adrenaline
you're
rush.
really close to
Yeah.
the subject. It's not like you're going to go up 40
Yeah.
feet, get off,
Yeah, you
come
have
back,
to. It's
take
like
a look at
you got to
it.
paint it. You got to put it down, step
Wow.
back, take a look at it, make sure you're all square and you're where you need to be. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you? I forget the technique, but where you know you kind of make a graph or
Yeah,
squares and you
yeah.
kind of lay it out like that.
In my mind, I'll do a graph just to kind of lay it out, because the wonderful thing about a mural is everybody sees it. The bad thing is that if you screw it up, everybody's going to see it. So, you know, you have to make sure you're taking your time and doing it right, and you have the right materials. Exterior paints, I will use a kind of a sign painter's paint called One Shot, and that way it lasts a lot longer and can endure the elements.
Great.
Yeah.
So how's the Sawdust been so far? You've had a lot of traffic over there?
Oh, lots and lots of traffic.
Great.
Love it. You know, lots of offers on murals for Chronic Taco and, you know, surfboards and canvas pieces. And I'll bring people in and I'll just yank them out in and say, here's an airbrush. And I'll put it in their hand for the first time ever. They've never seen it. And so they get to scribble a little bit with it.
Yeah.
And so it takes the intimidation a little bit
Right.
away, because nobody's really has the opportunity to put an airbrush in their hand.
Right.
It's a tricky instrument.
Yeah, and that's kind of neat too about those kind of Ronco products that are out there for kids nowadays. They actually have that one where you can blow, like we talked about earlier,
Absolutely.
where people can get, you know, kids especially can try that, and all of a sudden they find this wonderful, you know, medium that they can work with, and then
Yes.
all of a sudden they step into the
Yes.
level that you're working with.
Yes, I love taking kids and showing them. One of the things I did at the Sawdust is when I was a child, I saw this little ball sculpture and it rolled down. And this year I have a ball sculpture displayed, although I don't have it here to show. And it will roll down and hit a little bell. And I drove the parents crazy with that. And I couldn't weld when I was younger, so I made them out of toothpicks. And now here it is full circle. I'm making them for kids, and I bring kids over and let them try it all
That's
the time.
great. Good
Yeah.
story. What booth are you at?
I'm at 302.
Okay.
Just as you come right in the front door, hang a right just before the stairs.
Right.
And love to see you.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, be sure and go over to the Sawdust Festival and see some of the beautiful work that Michael has done. And he's at booth 302. Tell him you saw him on Channel 6 and take a look at some of his work. They're going to be there until August 29th, so it gives you a couple of weeks. But, you know, it will come fast. So head on over to the Sawdust Festival as soon as you can. Be sure and see Michael Brindley, and he's over there at booth 302.
Thank you
to
so
meet
much. Had a
Nice
blast
work.
being here. Appreciate
Very
the
good.
time.
That's Michael
Yeah.
Brindley. He's over at the Sawdust Festival. Be sure and go over there and enjoy a wonderful day and take a look at some of his work. We're going to be right back with more of the Channel 6 News Hour right after this.
Coleridge teamed up and collaborated. But Wordsworth was the most long-lived of the English Romantic poets, and we have several poems by him.
Good morning, Laguna Woods Village. We're here in the back room of the Village Library. It's a hidden space that the public generally doesn't see because the public isn't allowed. This is where we process all of our materials before we put them out on the shelf. And it's an area that has some special considerations. For example, let me show you some books. These two were donated to the library. People in the village have a caring, giving heart, but as you can see, these books, they're old. They've seen better days. They're worn. This one is Marcel Proust, and I guess this was printed when Proust was alive. This, The Magic Power of Self-Image Psychology, is old and worn and frayed. If you have books that you'd like to donate to the library, we'd love to have them, especially if they're not in our collection. We'll add them to the shelf gladly if they're books in good condition. If they are not in good condition, we put them aside because maybe other libraries might want them. Your donations are always cheerfully accepted, and we thank you from the bottom of our heart for your kindness. But please, when you do donate, make sure it's a book someone else just might want to read that is in good condition. DVDs are a part of our circulating collection here at Laguna Woods Village Library, and they circulate quite heavily. Right